some winners and then we say let's go. So come on, it's time to watch the show.
Live on a Thursday afternoon here on the East. It is 11 a.m. on the West, whatever time zone you're in. I know I got a friend who's in Tokyo right now, and I believe he's watching the show, and I think it's 3 a.m. Friday in Tokyo. Whatever time it may be, this is Betting Weekly Hardball, part of the Betting Weekly Studios, under the Bet Rivers umbrella. Adam and Wes. Wes, how you doing, professional bettor? Are you ready to go today?
I'm ready to go. Yeah, we do have a small slate today. Kind of a weird scheduling spot. I know Thursday is usually smaller, but usually we have a little bit more than 5 games. Of course, one underway currently in Cleveland.
There you go. We just had Wes's Twitter handle up there. You could follow him on Twitter. You could follow me on Twitter for more information. And if you like what you're hearing on any of our shows, then make sure that you sign up for our newsletter, get exclusive tips in the free Insider magazine. Sign up for free at bettingweeklystudios.com. It was a weird week because, Mondays and Thursdays are usually the days where there's not a lot of games. This Monday was a full slate pretty much. But Thursday, extremely light here today, only 5. And we'll begin with one game in progress right now, Wes. The Orioles put up a 3-spot on Logan Allen in the top of the first in Cleveland. The Guardians have come back with 2 in the bottom of the third, a solo homer for Stephen Kwan, and a bases-loaded 1-out sac fly by Nolan Jones. Guardians still 2 on and 2 out in the bottom of the third. Actually, they just got out of it. Schneemann flied out. So it's 3-2 Orioles after 3, going to the top of the fourth in Cleveland. The Guardians, following a 10-game losing streak, have won 11 of 13, so they're hot. I know you were thinking about something before this game, but what about right now where we're at 3-2? Would you think about anything at this point?
Yeah, just eyeballing the number here currently. What I was thinking about, by the way, was Charlie Morton over 15 and a half recorded outs, and then it got bumped to 16 and a half, and that got a little dicey. He gets out of the jam here in the third, so I think I'm not sure if there's a live prop up there for him, because I feel like they've got to give him a little bit, and maybe both these starters, a little bit of distance here, a little bit of runway here where they're not pulling him out, because bullpens have been used by both teams in this series somewhat extensively. So I'd still lean maybe if you have a live over outs on Morton to go that way. He did get that was like his first real jam of the game, and then they get out of it. So that'd be probably where I would go here. I think we're seeing like 11 and a half on the in-play total. I'm not going to do anything with that just yet. Just you got to feel like these managers, going into the next series, you would think, okay, I don't want to use my bullpen any more than I have to. And especially now the Guardians, where it's like, do they feel like, hey, we're kind of in it maybe for a wild card, or we're certainly not out of it? One game over 500. We were talking about them last week, Adam. Like, are they going to be a trade deadline candidate? Are they going to be one of those teams around 500, like the Cardinals, the Diamondbacks, the Royals, those teams where it's like, are we in it or are we not? And they have to make that decision. The Rangers, I think, were one of those teams too. So, how much they want to use that bullpen, but also you do want to showcase some guys to say, okay, well, we have this guy available. Here's what he can do. Are you interested? So I think these starting pitchers maybe got a little bit more runway before they get hooked.
I agree with you. I think Morton's got a chance to get over that 15 and a half number. He needs 7 more outs. He's only thrown 48 pitches. So we'll keep an eye on that. There are 4 games going on later today. We'll talk about all 4 of them. By the way, if you have a pick, if you have a question, if you have a comment, anything involving baseball, and you want to get involved with the conversation here, you can do so. Just go to the YouTube page, or we're also on Twitter and Twitch and all these other things. SF9er says, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
And he'd like me to rip my shirt off for Hulk Hogan. I will not be doing that, but
that's been a big topic this morning. I was a wrestling fan, so look, whatever you thought of him, good or bad, he was responsible, I think, for the national and now international expansion
No doubt.
of the wrestling business. I think no one was more responsible than he was. So yeah, Hulk Hogan has passed away at the age of 71. That came out today. There were kind of people saying he was a little sick, and and then Jimmy Hart, of course, man, protects him to the end. He's like, man, we just did karaoke the other night, and he was fired up. So he was
Yeah.
kayfabe. He was kayfabe into the end, man,
Mm.
like a true wrestling worker would.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, but let's get to and again, you keep sending messages in the chat if you want about Hulk Hogan or anything else you want. But in the meantime, we'll get to the 4 other games tonight. The first one at 6:40 Eastern, we have the Blue Jays at the Tigers. Obviously, the Blue Jays, outside of the Brewers, are the hottest team in baseball. They've won 16 of 20, 5-1 since the break. Eric Lauer tonight against Reese Olson. 2 teams going in opposite directions right now. The Tigers had been the best team in baseball for most of the year, but they have not played well for about a month. But in particular, the last 10 games, they are 1-9, and they have been outscored, I believe, by 40 runs in their last 10 games. It's been ugly for the Tigers. What are you buying about these? Like, do you think we're going to see the Blue Jays play great the rest of the year? Tigers struggle the rest of the year, or will both kind of even out a little bit?
I don't know if the Blue Jays are going to keep this up the rest of the year. I do kind of lean their way tonight, though.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of what it's really more of a bet against the Tigers because they played 6 games, right, since the All-Star break, and they have 9 runs. And 5 of them were in one game. They have had a real power outage there. They lost 2 of 3 to Texas, where they only got 3 runs. And then they only scored 6 runs against the Pirates. And the Pirates sweep them. Pirates, by the way, outscored them, 17-6. And this is a Pittsburgh team that we know has had trouble hitting all year. So maybe a little bit of concern with some of the Tigers pitching here. They're going with Olson, who's, back end starter. This is a guy that can sometimes function as an opener and sometimes a guy that you're going to struggle maybe to try to get through 5. But this would be Blue Jays or nothing for me. Blue Jays took 2 of 3 from the Yankees, of course, and then they swept them a couple weeks ago. So Blue Jays just in a better way. I think you're getting a decent price just looking around there. So anything Blue Jays, like Bet Rivers right now, I believe plus 110. Anything in the 1-teens, I think is a play on the Blue Jays.
Eric Lauer has been surprisingly kind of under the radar good. Early in the season, he was pitching out of the pen a little bit. He would go like 3 innings, 4 innings, but he still, for the most part, doesn't go that long. But if you look at what he's done this month, he's made 3 starts. He's pitched 16 innings. He's given up just 9 hits and 6 runs, 2 walks, 20 strikeouts. So he's pitched really well here of late. And and in fact, the Blue Jays, for whatever it's worth, have won 7 of the last 8 games that he's pitched in. But oddly enough, the only time they lost a game that he pitched in his last 8 was against the White Sox, of all teams. Mm-hmm. But listen, the Blue Jays are doing everything right now. And I'm with you. It's Blue Jays or pass. I'm not betting on the Tigers the way they're playing. I'm not a big Reese Olson guy. I'm a little surprised the Tigers are a favorite in this game. I know they're at home.
Yeah, because they had the road trip to Texas and then to Pittsburgh. So maybe the market or thinks they're going to get right. I'm not so sure here in this first game. And it is always tough to back the team that was home that goes immediately on the road. But sometimes sometimes they got the focus even more in that first game. So yeah, Toronto or nothing for me.
All right, next game is at 7:45 Eastern. Couple of veteran pitchers going in this one. Team's not playing particularly well. The Padres at the Cardinals. Yu Darvish, who missed most of the season, has come back and struggled so far. Sonny Gray will be on the hill for St. Louis. The Cardinals have lost 5 of 6 since the break, including 2 of 3 to the dreadful Rockies. Sonny Gray also, he's getting up there. He's 35 years old. He has not pitched particularly well. His last start, he got destroyed by Arizona. In fact, that he hasn't had a quality start since he pitched a 1-hit complete game shutout against the Guardians on June 27th. But in the month of July, he's been terrible. 15 earned runs in 17 2/3 innings. Just atrocious.
Yeah, he really, has kind of hit the summer woes here. Has
Yeah.
Sonny Gray started off the season? I thought really hot. You Darvish only his fourth start back. He did go 5 against the Nats last time out, but seems like he's pretty good. Through the first time through the order, and then you get him another time through the order, and he's gotten himself into some jams here. But with these two teams, and they're both, Padres had I thought played kind of poorly in the Washington series. Still
Hmm.
8 games over 500. Small lean to the under. I have not bet this yet, but especially if it goes to 8.5, you're seeing some 8 heavily juiced to the over right now at Bet Rivers. I know -117, so is a possibility if you're looking a little bit at the market that this goes to 8.5, because we talked about both these pitchers struggled. Could be a get right spot maybe for both of these guys. Padres offense can really sputter, and you saw that a little bit in
Hmm.
Miami, where they were not able to score runs, and I think they had 2, they had 3, and they had 2, so 7 runs in 3 games against the Marlins. They had the one breakout game on Sunday against Washington, but this team, I'm not convinced with the Padres. I think the Padres long term, they've got some issues, and they've got some guys in the lineups that have been black holes in that lineup, and including Manny Machado, by the way, who just
Yeah.
has not been getting clutch hits. So AJ Preller is going to have to do something. I think if they really want to contend, they're probably not beating the Dodgers. You wouldn't think in that division, but they're still right in line for the wild card. So Padres are one of those teams that I think are going to have to make a move at some point at the deadline. So small lean to the under for me if we can get it up to 8.5.
And you're reading rumors that there actually might be sellers, even though they're 8 games over 500.
Right.
There's been talk about Dylan Cease getting traded, about Robert Suarez getting traded. It is shocking how bad their offense has been. If you look at it, here is the list of teams that have scored less runs than the San Diego Padres this season to this point: the Colorado Rockies, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Chicago White Sox, the Kansas City Royals, and the Cleveland Guardians. That's the list. They are 6th from
It's
the bottom in runs scored. I would
that
never believe that going into the season.
that's pretty exclusive company, right?
Yeah.
Not very many good teams right now on that list, and yeah, they're certainly going to have to make moves and see what you can get. They obviously would like an encouraging sign out of Darvish tonight and see if they can get a little length. The bullpen, I think, is relatively solid for these guys, but you look at all the big price guys that they have in that lineup, and they don't always deliver necessarily. The bottom is going to be weaker, but there's sometimes where Tatis can kind of come and go a little bit. I think him and Arias are a little bit more consistent, certainly than Manny Machado. There's so many times I've seen games and watched this team this year where, okay, you got 2 outs and you got a couple runners on, or you got bases loaded, and Machado strikes out. Machado can't get a run in.
Right.
So that's some real issues, I think, for the Padres.
If you're talking about hanging in there, if you did bet the over on the outs recorded by Charlie Morton, you're feeling better at the moment. He's gotten the first 2 outs of the bottom of the 4th quickly, and he's facing the worst hitter in baseball, Austin Hedges. So all he needs is 5 more outs, and he's only just to his 60th pitch. And he's looking to get a 1-2-3 inning. So feeling better after he was in trouble in the 3rd inning in that situation. All right, let's get to the next game here. It starts at 8:10 Eastern. It's the Athletics and the Astros. Houston's gone 4-4. Excuse me, 4 and I just screwed up my own thing. Houston has won 4 straight, after losing 7 of 8. They'd been playing really well. They dropped 7 of 8 the end of the break and right after the break the first 2, but now they've won 4 in a row. They're going with Jason Alexander, not the actor from Seinfeld, of course. He instead is a journeyman pitcher. Luis Severino has not been good at home. He's been better on the road, and they're at on the road in Houston tonight. Well, what do you like here? It's hard. You're not going to bet on the A's, I guess, but do you want to rely on Jason Alexander? What say you?
Right. Luis Severino is kind of opposite George, like you
Yeah,
mentioned. He
that's
is much
true.
better on the road. He hasn't been comfortable on that kind of flatter mound out there in Sacramento, and that's given a lot of those A's pitchers troubles, by the way. He's not the only one on that staff that I think has been better on the road. Astros getting a little money right now in the market, so somebody out there is liking this team. At Bet Rivers, still you can get the low. The market is higher a lot of other places with the Astros. So if you want the best price to lay on that team, I think Bet Rivers has you covered there. But Alexander, it's tough to know like what you're going to get. He went 6 against these guys out in Sacramento on June 17th, and 2 earned, 3 hits, not bad. So is he going to be an opener? Is what I wonder for this team, because they've got some injuries on this staff. So who would be, if it would be a bullpen game here, because we know, Eric Eddy's been out, Javier has been out, McKellar's now back on the injured list, Garcia. So the 2 primary starters are Brown and Valdez. They've been healthy, and they've been using Brandon Walter and Colton Gordon. So you may get a combination. I'm trying to see who is available for the Astros. They would like to get some length, I think, out of Alexander, but you may see like a combination of him and a middle reliever like an Okert or Caleb Bort or somebody like that. So Astros getting a little bit of support. I'm not sure really what to do with this game, because I don't know how long Alexander's going to go. Alexander, by the way, the batting average balls in play in his action is 176. So that always worries you that there's a little bit of negative regression coming against the guy. Market certainly doesn't believe so, but this one I think I'm going to pass on.
Yeah, I think it's a definite pass for me, because I just can't bet on the A's, and I don't trust Jason Alexander. By the way, the Charlie Morton gets out of it, strikes out Hedges, so they go to the 5th, still 3-2. By the way, I called Austin Hedges the worst hitter in baseball, and he has been for a number of years. He has 94 at-bats this year, Austin Hedges, for the Guardians. You want to take a guess as to how many hits he has? 94 at-bats.
I am going to say that he has 17 hits.
Very close, but it's even worse, believe it or not. He has 11 hits in 94 at-bats, and his batting average is 118.
But he's a good pitch framer, right? He's got that going for him at least.
He better be the best ever.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, exactly. All right, last game. Mariners Angels. This is a 9:38, not 9:35, not 9:30, not 9:40, 9:38 Eastern. Logan Evans and Yusei Kikuchi. Mariners have scored just 6 runs in their last 4 games. Their offense has been pretty bad for a while now after a good start to the season. Any interest in this game for you, Wes?
Yeah, and the Angels' offense, despite the fact that they got swept up at Citi Field, now they're 4 games under 500. Angels' offense hadn't been bad. They've got some guys that can hit the ball a little bit, and they're facing Logan Evans, who clearly is the back-end starter. I think they've been searching for that 5 starter there in Seattle, because you look at who they have with Gilbert and Kirby, Castillo, Wu. That might be the best starting rotation 1 through 4 in baseball, certainly up there in the rankings. But who's that 5th guy? They're still looking for it. Sometimes they use Evans, sometimes they use Emerson Hancock. So they don't really have a 5th starter. It's kind of a piecemeal. And maybe that's somewhat why Dan Wilson, I think, who is a former catcher, and usually former catchers tend to make the better managers in the league. But I watch Seattle a lot out here, and he has a quick hook on these pitchers. I saw it the other night. I think Logan Gilbert had like 10 strikeouts, gave up a hit. He's got 1 out. So it's like 86 pitchers, you're taking him out. And it's like, you know what? Let him try to get the double play. Trust him a little bit. He's done that with George Kirby a bunch this year.
Brian Wu against the Yankees one game.
Yeah, like Dan Wilson, I think.
Yeah.
I'm worried that they're wearing out that bullpen a little bit. So now, is Logan Evans the best linked candidate on the surface? Maybe not, but I would like Logan Evans on some of his overs. Like hits allowed or perhaps earned runs. I think hits allowed right now is like 5.5. That I think is the best you want to look at there. And the market clearly likes the Angels coming back to the Big A off that trip east. And they've been getting steam all morning. So sometimes the way to play that, if you miss a number on a side like that or a money line price, is to play against the opposing pitcher. And because those don't always move in the market as quickly as I think that sides and totals were, where they're taking maybe higher dollar amounts of bets. So that's what I'll probably do here. Logan Evans over 5.5 hits allowed, I think, is out there in the market, anywhere even money to around -110. tough spot, I think, for Seattle. Tough for both because they're traveling. You would think it's tougher for the Angels, but Seattle really used their bullpen a decent amount in that Milwaukee series, where they only got 1 of 3 after that really good series against the Astros over the weekend, which we talked about last week, that they really needed
Right.
to say, okay, we're still players. So fading Logan Evans here, I think, is the way to do that with the late market move on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
I'll tell you something I like in this game, Wes. I like Yusei Kikuchi over 6.5 strikeouts at plus 116. He's gone over 6.5 strikeouts in 5 of his last 7 starts. And against some good lineups, too. He did it against Philly. He did it against Boston. He did it against Houston. He had 9 strikeouts in 7 innings. I think Kikuchi's an underrated pitcher. People don't like him. I don't know why that is. He's usually a pretty reliable starter. In fact, he's only given up more than 3 earned runs 3 times this year, and he's never given up more than 4 earned runs in a game. So he's usually consistent. Lately, he's only been going 5 or 6 innings, but last month he was going 7. But I like the over 6.5 strikeouts. The Mariners' bad offensive team. I'm going with that today.
Adam, now that I'm taking a look at that, now that you bring that up, I'm not mad at that. I may actually end up betting that tonight because I went watching Seattle a lot over the last week. They are aggressive at the plate.
Yep.
And you know, there'll be for some free swingers there. Now, Kikuchi's just got to locate and not make them ground balls. But I watched them against the Brewers, and the Brewers got ground ball after ground ball. These guys swing at the first pitch all the time. So there's a good chance you're going to be ahead in the count if Kikuchi could get some swings and misses. Like Brandon Woodruff, I think, had like 49 pitches after 5 innings or something ridiculous the other night. We saw Quinn Priester end up going 7 yesterday against against Seattle, and you know, especially Priester. Woodruff, we know, has some good stuff, and historically we've seen good numbers. But Priester is a guy you're thinking this guy's a 5-inning pitcher at best, and usually he is because the Brewers have a deep bullpen, and Seattle just their approach at the plate was so awful. So I don't disagree with you, and I may add that Kikuchi over strikeouts tonight because I think Seattle. I don't think they're going to change their approach here. They're going to be free swingers and, you know, swing at maybe some bad pitches. And you could certainly see Kikuchi racking up those strikeouts.
And to back it up and to back up what you just said about their aggressiveness, the Mariners have struck out. They're 4th worst in the league in strikeouts per 9 innings. So only the Angels, who they're playing, the Rockies, and the Red Sox strike out more than Seattle does. Yeah. So you put that combination in there, it looks good. All right, one more update on the Orioles and Guardians. Still 3-2 O's going to the bottom of the 5th in Cleveland. Again, the Guardians looking for the sweep there. In our YouTube chat, we got San Francisco Niner. He went with the Jays and the O's and the Angels on the money line. Let's see. Adam Osimo says Detroit isn't far from Toronto. That's true. I'm actually driving up to Toronto for Cubs Blue Jays in a couple of weeks. He said, Adam also, over 8 runs in this one is his pick, Blue Jays and Tigers. And he also likes the over. I don't know what game he's talking about here. It might be the Angels and the Mariners that we just talked about.
That has moved, by the way. 9. I think try to get the 9. Obviously, 7s and 9s are the most key totals in all of baseball. So, at 8, if it moves to 8.5 and you like an over, you could sometimes get away with it a little bit more, but not necessarily with 7 and 9. I think Bet Rivers got it 9.5 juice to the under at -124. So shop around if you find some 9s with juice because the over is on the move in that game.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us today. Quick show today because there's only 5 games on the docket. But the guys will be back tomorrow with a full slate of Friday games. And Betting Weekly Fast Break is coming your way in about 35 minutes. Thanks to Shane and Alex for producing today. For Wes, I'm Adam. We'll talk to you next time on Betting Weekly Hardball. See you, everybody.